Celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die.
What up, guys? It's January 8th. Happy week to you, wherever you are. It is the Saints played. I got to see my Saints win. I'm sorry if you're a Panthers fan. It was a pretty exciting weekend of football. You know, it's just nice to watch them boys get out there and get wild. Even though I feel like they make this league kind of soft, and maybe eventually they'll have a new league, a new type of NFL or something that'll pop up that'll be more violent. You know, they'll have tigers out there, somebody. You know, maybe they got a chimpanzee at midfield, and he's on both teams, because a chimpanzee will eat your nuts right out of your ball sack. I mean, just like two olives. That wild boy will just, dude, he'll pop your bag open and eat your nuts right in front of you. And chimpanzees will do that. They're very violent animals. I'm not a violent animal. I don't think so. Sometimes. Am I violent sometimes? I don't think so as an adult. I'm too fucking tired to be violent. You know, the craziest, like, you know, one night there was some guy outside who was, you know, sitting out there just revving his car in the middle of the night, and I grabbed a couple of limes out of my fruit bowl and just threw them off the balcony and hit his van a couple of times. And that's really my level of violence right now. Throwing limes at somebody in a shady van from about 50 or 60 feet away safely from a second floor balcony at 4 a.m. That's where I'm at with violence. It's January 8th. It's January 8th. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. That was Spencer Grau, the Spencer Grau Band with Celebrate. Back to that the original theme music there. And it's good, man. We got a lot going on. The Golden Globes are on right now. I'm not watching them. You know, I'm a little, you know, I'm in Hollywood because I'm here. I'm out here fighting my fight, you know, and doing, you know, I want to put my stake in the ground for my career and my comedy. Whatever those stakes may be, you know, I want to continue to, you know, put those pegs into the soil. But, you know, I feel like the films aren't as good as they used to be for me. And sometimes I don't know if that's because I'm disconnected, if I'm getting older, or if movies are just bad these days. But also, like, Hollywood is sometimes it is so judgmental. You know, it's just so much judgment a lot of times and not as much empathy. Even though it's always preached that there's so much empathy, it's, you know, it's a business. And it's a dirty, dark business. That's what's going on out here in Hollywood. It is. And I think a lot of businesses are, but there's so much money out here that, man, when you add in more money and when you add in, that's when the dark arts really start to bloom. And they start to just grow up your skeleton like spines. And they grow from your bank account to your heart. And next thing you know, there's these vines that are just wrapped around, you know, just making a Bermuda Triangle, just triangulating you and money and the dark arts. And that can be, you know, that can be dangerous. When you got that much money on the line, you know, danger usually lurks where there's a lot of money. Danger usually lurks where there's a lot of money. So, I mean, I want to be well. You know, I want to achieve. I want to succeed. I want to get mine, as they say. You know, and I want to make I want to make money. You know, I want to be successful. I want to achieve my goals. But I often also wonder, how much money do I want to make? You know, even before I've even made it, I wonder that. You know, what level do I want to be at? I don't want to be where I don't have the ability to still believe in what I believe in. Where the money on the other side of that teeter-totter, on the other side of that totter, is so great that it's peeling me up off the earth, the foundation, the soil of my values and what's important to me. And while I'm still figuring those things out, what's important to me, it can be a scary universe when you're still learning what's important to you and when that money's getting heavy on the other side of that totter. Because it'll lift you, man. It'll lift you. A lot of this business out here, people get picked for celebrity because they're the perfect advertising tool. Companies and these, the Geppettos, the people behind the scenes that are moving these Pinocchios and these Pinocchiatas. They see, oh, this person's the face. This person is the face for this. Let's use them. And that's got to be, it's just wild. There's just a lot going on in there. So I want to always be cognizant in my mind of how much do I need? At what point do I have too much? And I think a lot of that is you can keep, there's a lot of great people out there who seem like they make a ton of money and also give away so much money. You always hear about Bill Gates, that the man spends most of his day these days giving away money. And I hope that, if the powers that be in the universe see that I achieve great wealth, I hope that at the same time they see that I achieve the desire to want to help others and to want to share. Because, man, that'll fill your heart account up. I want that big balance in my aortas. I want my heart to be bubbling with the joy of doing something not just for myself. Because, man, I'll get trapped in myself. I'll get trapped in myself a lot. And sometimes it can be scary. It can be scary. Sorry, I didn't mean to start out on such a heavy note there, but I've had some stuff going on in my life where, where I've been kind of in and out of this, dating and this relationship, where, sometimes I'm just afraid to kind of commit to it. And I'm afraid of, I don't even know what I'm afraid of sometimes. I guess I've never been, I don't know if I've ever really trusted somebody fully in my whole life. And I guess it's almost like, how do you even, it's like doing something you've never done before. Like if somebody asked you to, drown yourself in a bowl of gravy, I'd be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But if they're like, oh man, this is good gravy, and when you get down to the bottom and you can't even breathe or nothing, it's just going to feel awesome. It's going to feel great. I would still be like, that's crazy. Do this gravy have a lifeguard? Where's the lifeguard tower around this gravy? But then that's what I think it is sometimes, of jumping into that. It's why I have trouble getting into relationships and staying committed and staying steadfast. I think just because I've never done it. I've never done it my whole life. And it's not even like, oh, well, just try it. You've dated and you've been in relationships before, but I've never been I've never wanted to know or believe 100% that this can be something amazing. I've never been able to, I don't think. And then, and I want, I feel like I want to, but I don't even know how to. And so that's why I say it's like somebody saying, hey, get down in this gravy. Because I can't breathe gravy. So my mind is telling me, you can't breathe gravy. You're not an amphibian. You're not a gravy amphibian. You can't breathe gravy. But they're saying that it's so good when you have that connection and that, that reciprocated love that you can have with, in a relationship that is, that you can really have in a trusting relationship. And for some reason, for me, it's just really hard. It's hard to just step out into that love, that sauce, that love gravy, and just let myself submerge and go down in there and be in there. And it's just because I've never done it. I've never done it, And that might be a wild correlation, but I'm trying to iterate to you how foreign it feels to me to be in a committed relationship or committed environment. So anyway, some of that's just been on my mind and heart, and we had a caller that called in about it, and I'll play that call right now. And I want to thank you guys for hitting the hotline, and that is 985-664-9503. If you have a thought or idea or response to something that happens during this podcast, if you need help, or if you need somebody to share whatever's going on with your life, feel free to reach out to the hotline and leave us a voicemail. This was that call that came in. Here we go.
This is JP down in Alabama. I'm a 35-year-old male who has been married 2 times now. I'm on my second marriage, and this second one's going pretty successful so far.
This is JP from Alabama. Thank you for calling JP. Onward.
I just wanted to address your fears being in a relationship. I think, really, man, I'm like I said, I'm a fan. I don't want to come off as an asshole here, but I think you're just kind of being a pussy about it, man. As somebody who's been through some bullshit with women, it's always worth it in the end. Seems like it's me, if you get out of it alive, I mean, what's the worst going to happen? You going to get a divorce? Maybe you got a baby you got to pay for or something. Not really that big a deal, man. Life goes on. I mean, you ain't even taking no risk other than your comedy. I mean, you ain't out doing drugs. You ain't out doing alcohol and whatnot. So you might as well take a risk on love, man. If you love this girl, if you like being around her, you need to show her that you want to be around her. Hey.
Yeah, and that was the call that kind of, I guess, had me thinking about that. And I appreciate that call, JP. I love the part that's, you got no real risk, except maybe what? A divorce, maybe a baby. But you know what? I mean, if the baby's a product of love, then yeah, I guess that's not a huge risk. And if you know that you're okay with taking care of a child no matter what, that's not a huge risk. But yeah, I don't know sometimes what it's innate. It's like somebody telling you that you can swim. That's what it's like. Here's the correlation I think. It's like trying to tell somebody that they can swim, but they have no idea how to swim. That they don't even believe that they could even be out in the water. I think that's what it's like, So yeah, but that's a good point. I'm not out here taking. What risks am I taking? I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit. Not ashamed of myself, but it makes me feel a little bit like you said it first, like a vagine, bro. Like a gina. Like that warm wallet. Like that wild canal. Like Joseph Conrad wrote about. That wild canal out there. That whatever it was, that dark river or whatever he was writing about. Yeah, it's just scary. I don't know why it's so scary to me. But you're right. Maybe I got to just get out there and just, I think some of it is when I get into real heavy in a relationship or if I really care about someone, it just, and I know a lot of guys have this, this problem because my friends are talking to me about it all the time. Those intimacy issues. It's just like I just struggle with wanting to be, then it's like I get so much anxiety because it's such a foreign territory. That, I just don't want to be intimate. It's almost like I don't want to make that last reach out of my soul, and hit them with that root. I don't want to pop that sex root, and make that big link up. I'd rather dink and doink out here in the wilderness, I'd rather, find a crazy bear back behind a cactus, and pop off a nut. But when it's just when it gets, when you're right there and you meet an animal in the woods and y'all are dancing and y'all are maybe twerking and showing each other y'all's real, showing each other y'all's warts and showing each other y'all's dirty wounds and saying things in front of each other you don't say to other animals. That's when I think it's just some intimacy stuff, man. I struggle in that universe, man. I struggle. And it's some of that shit. I think it's just that and dude, sometimes it even goes like, there have been times in my life, even like I've never had a good idea of what my relationship was with people. Even with friends. I could be hanging out with a friend on a vacation. Their family could take me on a vacation with them. And I'm still wondering if this person is my friend or not. Like there's just something, there's some evaluator inside of me that just is constantly unsure if the connection that is very obvious. If somebody else looks over at us and me and my buddy are out there playing in the water, and we're heterosexually out there just throwing a frisbee or throwing a football, it looks normal. They're like, oh, those two kids are friends, right? Sure. Or if we're out drinking at the, Floribama Lounge or whatever, or at some bar, it's like, oh, those guys are buddies. Those guys are friends. But to me, there's some little thing inside of me that just it's always asking me, like, is everything okay with this friendship? Is this a friendship? There's this broken little chip in me. So that's just, I guess, and I'm not depressed about it. I'm at this point in my life right now where I am trying to, I'm trying to go to more like different types of meetings and spend time with buddies and talk about what's going on with some of my fears, so that I'm not just sitting there holding my fears like I'm at this poker game. And I just, and I got a full house of fucking fear. But I'm afraid to even show my cards, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to try and take action. I want to try and take action. And I don't really have a New Year's resolution, but if I just sit there and when I start thinking, I'm no good. When I get into I need to take action. I need to take action. I need to move my feet before I move my brain. Because my brain will outsmart me or will dark art me into thinking that something is wrong. Even if it's not. Even if it's not. And I know maybe I'm rambling some here, but that's sometimes sometimes we ramble. Sometimes I just want to be a big girl laying in bed, eating cookies, snacking out, and worrying, and just watching damn Ozark, or watching the new Dave Chappelle comedy special. Sometimes I don't want to have to be this badass. Sometimes I don't want to have to be. But that's, I don't know, that's some of the stuff that's going on. But let me get more positive. Let me try to boost up here. I want to thank everybody from Fighter and the Kid. I was and that's a podcast where they have this man who is a fighter, and he got beat up and he got attacked a couple times, and he couldn't fight anymore because his brain couldn't handle it. He was on the brisk of freaking getting that, a brush with that tism, and so his brain, told him, we got to shut it down. And so he quit fighting, and he met up with this other man who's kind of aging, but he's this, a sweet, funny guy, and he got strong legs, the other guy. And they have a podcast. He's a comedian. And their names are Brendan and Brian, and the podcast is called The Fighter and the Kid. And one of them uses moisturizer, and one of them needs moisturizer. And they had me on their podcast this year, and I got picked as the guest of the year. So that was cool. That really made me, that made me feel good because their listeners voted. And so I want to thank everybody who supported that and listened to that. And go listen to those guys if you haven't. Because when I go into that type of environment, I'm just so grateful to be in environments now where I'm just hanging out with other guys sometimes and I'm feeling okay. Because as a kid and a lot of times I don't have that. A lot of times I just have this thing in my brain telling me that something's always wrong. But that was a blast, and I want to thank anybody that voted for me on that and supported me on that. And that's called The Fighter and The Kid, and you can check out their podcast. I want to let you know right now that Gray Block Pizza is on Pico Boulevard on the way to the beach, and they got that hitter. So if you want something in you that's good, go to Gray Block Pizza in Los Angeles, Pico Boulevard. Get that hitter. Also, I have a couple dates coming up. This weekend, I'll be at the Brea Improv in Brea, California. It's Brea. It's like bread, but without the D. Think about it like that. January 8th through 20th, I'll be at the New Comedy Club, Jacksonville, Florida. February 8th through 11th, Harvey's in Portland. February 16th through 18th, La Jolla at the Comedy Store. February 22nd through the 24th, Fantasy Springs Casino out there in Indio. And April 6th and 7th, Tampa, Florida at Rock Brothers Brewing. And all of those links should be up and clickable on theovon.com/tour by Tuesday. Yeah, what a weekend. My Saints won. That lifted me up. My Saints won. I was happy about that. We had some great calls that came in. I don't think what else has been on my mind. I just, just a regular, just life. Just trying to be active. Because that's where I do well. When I get moving, that's where I do well. And try not to be afraid of what's going on. Oh, they had this Logan Paul. I don't know if you heard about this kid, this Logan Paul fella. First name, last. Some people have that last name, first name, where they switch it up. They had this kid in our town named Sanders Benny. That was his name, Sanders Benny. And obviously, whoever named it, his name was Benny Sanders, but they fucked it up somehow. Because all of his siblings had the last name Sanders. And then this fucking whirl of dude has Sanders Benny. I mean, if you want somebody to have, what's it called, where you're dyslexic, why don't you fucking start him right there? And he had dyslexia, this dude. I mean, this dude, you asked him to spin in a circle, you wouldn't see him for probably about 2 minutes. This dude get lost, man. This guy would get lost. He could get lost on a twin bed. This guy could get lost on a twin bed. There's just something, he had that, he just something a little bit wrong with him. Sanders Benny, but that's what this Logan Paul kid, his name is wrong, first of all. So right out of the gate, that some wrong things might happen to him. I have this belief that things that if they name you a certain way when you're a child, or, babies that are conceived a certain way, certain things are going to happen in their life. Like if you're a dog, if you were conceived in the doggy style position, I'm not going to be surprised if 20 years later you're stealing cars or stealing boat radios and drinking hot vodka. When you're supposed to be babysitting, or you're supposed to be running a children's care center during the summer. I'm not going to be surprised if you were conceived in the doggy style position if you're out there doing that. Snorting Adderall and fucking filling out fake magazine subscriptions for all your friends. I'm not going to be surprised. Yeah, and this Logan Paul kid, he is a YouTuber, and he has millions and millions of subscribers. And we don't have that many. We only have about 19,000. So if you're listening and haven't subscribed, please do. But Logan, he caters, his audience, I guess, is younger, skews younger than him. I think he's 21 years old. So he was in Japan, and he went to a popular place in Japan where it's a forest where people commit suicide. And from everything that I've learned, and I could be wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. No problem with it. From everything that I've learned, or what little I know, suicide in Japan is, there's a lot of honor. People in Japan have a lot of honor. And, and people will commit suicide there, apparently when they feel like they are not living up to the potential of themselves. And I don't know if it's exactly the same why we do it in America. I don't know why. No matter what, it's sad. It's sad when somebody feels that broken, when somebody feels that much pain, that they're going to end their own life. Well, Logan went to a forest where people do this, and he was making jokes, The guy's 21 years old. And a lot of his a lot of his subscribers and listeners were upset. And people were upset. People were commenting. And I mean millions of people. And apparently, he's now gotten more followers because more people are jumping on to see what's even going on with this kid. I mean, this is a 21-year-old, and he's growing up, and he's seeing new things. He's in new environments. He probably has an ego. I mean, at 21 years old, you telling me you wouldn't have an ego if you had 50 or 30 million YouTube followers and everybody thought you was the cat's butthole? You would in a heartbeat. Any of us would. So if he's, making off-color jokes or whatever he's doing, whatever makes him think in his head he can do these things, it could be adolescence. How about that? You ever made a poor choice when you were 21? Every choice I made when I was 21 was poor. And I was poor. So, it's amazing that, and now people who are advertisers saying they don't want to be associated with them, advertisers are bailing. It's I don't understand sometimes why when the going gets tough, that as a society and as viewers and as an industry of entertainment, that's when we bail. Or when things get real. Like this guy has however many subscribers he has, he makes a mistake. That's when is a good time to learn. I don't care what it is. That is a great time to learn when somebody's fucking up. It's easy to watch somebody just do great all the time. Oh, you're still doing great? Amazing. I don't care about that shit anymore. Somebody that's always great, I don't care about that. You know why? Because I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And here's a kid, he fucks up. That's when we have a chance to learn. That's when people should be like, what's going on here? How do we learn from this scenario? I'm not going to judge the dude. I do a lot of weird stuff. A lot of wild stuff, man. I remember I had a cousin when I was young that was blind, and he's still blind. And I remember telling him there were dragons outside. And until you've seen a blind kid try to hide from dragons in an open field, you haven't seen anything. And I still feel bad about stuff like that, but I made mistakes. I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't do that now because it's not fun and it's not cool to watch somebody blind try to hide from dragons that they think are real. And we just make poor choices. I remember when they had that show, it was about 17 children or whatever. It's a religious family that had 17 children. And I didn't see the show much. I worked at Yahoo for about 3 years doing their daily show. And so we would watch a lot of unscripted television, reality TV, and we would make little clickable stories on it for yahoo.com. I used to like Yahoo. Now I think that they are way too biased and they're not realistic. But I used to like Yahoo. We would make these stories, and so we watched the show, 17 and counting. You remember the show. And then something happened on the show. A couple things happened. One, this family had 17 children. They were very religious. And I remember when I did see the show, I was intrigued by just thinking, well, what's it like to be in a family with that many kids? Because you have to talk to 15 people before you even leave your house. So by the time you get outdoors and into the world, are you just fed up with people? Are you, what is that like? And would you feel like, are parents able to love that many kids? If you're the youngest kid, at that point, is there enough love in the household from the oldest children to help fill in whatever, love is too overly divided? Of what are the parents' love that's too divided by so many kids? Are the older kids able to help fill that in a little bit by being supportive of the younger children? These are just thoughts that I had about this show. Well, then some things came out where one of the kids had touched another one of the children. And that's unfortunate. And it wasn't rape, from everything I know, from everything I remember reading, hearing about it. It wasn't, it was inappropriate. And it was children, but it was children. It was adolescent kids. And you don't think I remember when I was young, I remember I would hug my sister too much. I would hug her. I didn't know what was going on, but I would just hug her sometimes, and I felt like years later I would feel like it was inappropriate maybe. Now, did I touch her? Did I do anything like that? No. But I do remember just having some weird feelings, and it was just because I was going through adolescence. I don't know if I was going through puberty. I don't know what I was going through. But I do remember feeling, just feeling odd or feeling strange. And my sister was young. And so I remember, I hugged her too much. I would always carry her around even after she was too big. It was a little bit just weird. It was weird. I remember walking in on two of my nephews one time who were, touching each other's butts or something, and that was just wild. But they were kids. They were 11 years old. I'm not gonna, they were kids. So I remember when this happened to that family, I remember thinking to myself, man, this is unfortunate. And this show was on the Learning Channel, but I thought this is a great time to learn, because I bet a lot of families and a lot of people out there have had something strange that happened in their childhood with a sibling that they don't feel like was, or that they're uncertain about how they feel about it. And that's when they cut the program off. That's when TLC, I think it was TLC, got rid of the program. And I'm like, what the hell? Oh, and another one of the children, the older boy, had just gotten accused of being on like an adulterous dating website, Adult Friend Finder. That's what it was called. And I could relate to that. Surely I'd browsed past that site before. I'm no angel, and I wasn't even married, and I'd browse past it. But I remember I met a man who was on it one time when I was working in comedy on the road, and he was so addicted to being on this site and getting in these weird scenarios that I already had enough weird in my life. I didn't need that. But I remember thinking when these allegations came out and these things came out about this huge family, I remember thinking, wow, now the Learning Channel is really going to be able to help, because this is going to be a great time to learn. This is going to be a great time to see what happens here. But suddenly the show was off the air. These people are horrible. That was the overall vibe. They're not Christian, or because their religion was Christian. And I'm just thinking to myself, what a shitty time to bail. What a shitty time to bail as a viewer. What a shitty time to bail as a network. What a shitty time to bail as someone who's interested or someone who wants to learn when somebody's having a tough time. And that's, and I don't know this Logan Paul kid, Paul Logan, whatever it is, Ted Theodore Logan. That's an old reference to some of you guys, but, I don't know this kid, but when he makes a mistake, that's when I want to tune in. That's when I saw the first video I've seen of this kid. The first video I've seen of this boy, outside of the, I watched the one where he was in the forest and he was making fun of the body that he killed themselves. Definitely out of line. But out of line for a 21-year-old that has that it's probably full of ego and, probably doesn't even know who he is because he's grown up in the spotlight. Not surprised. Not shocked. It would almost be out of line if he didn't do something like that. And this is the time that it's those times when Hollywood's so weird to me. And I know that YouTube, it's not Hollywood, but, probably any movie deals that he had going, or things like that were in the works. I'm sure, all those people were like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. But that's when you need support. That's when, as a viewer, that's when I want to get on board. When something real is happening. When I got the ability to learn. Because otherwise, all they're showing me is, by pulling shows when things get real, all they show me is, oh, wow, things are real. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong when, something happens in a house like this with, where the children, something goes awry. Now, maybe the family didn't want to do it anymore. That could be a possibility, and I don't know that. But from everything I remember, that wasn't the case with the religious family. It was just like, oh, this is fucked up. Is it? You got 15 kids in a house? I don't see how you even flip a light switch without touching somebody's ass. I don't even see how you reach for the refrigerator door without grabbing a tit on accident. With 15, 17 kids in a house? So some of that's, it's just like, it's just so lame. It's just lame. And it's not helpful. When things get real, and that's when Hollywood and people that just are holier than thou, that's when they bail. That's when they bail? Oh, you're bailing now that shit got pretty real? It's supposed to be the learning channel. Oh, now you're bailing? So that's what I feel about this Logan Paul scenario. It's like if you're telling me a 21-year-old made a mistake or did something weird or did something fucked up. Also, if you're letting your kids watch a 21-year-old vlog all the time and you're shocked that they see something crazy, you're telling me that the 21-year-old is the one at fault? You can go eat a can of pickled giraffe nipples, dude, because that's fucking bizarre. That's crazy. That's like trying to pass a square turd, brother. Good luck. Good luck if that's the way you want to live your life. Because I would be shocked if a 21-year-old didn't make some poor choices. That's when I would be shocked. So those are my thoughts on that, you know? You telling me you hadn't fucked up? And yeah, maybe your kids shouldn't be watching it. Maybe this is where his show evolves into something else. You know, the kid's going to change. Maybe he's not a kid anymore. Maybe he's not a kid anymore, this Logan Paul. You know? Sanders Benny. I mean, first of all, what the fuck? You named him last name first. What'd you expect? You didn't expect him to get things a little mixed up? Talk to his parents first before you talk to him, I think. What else, man? I'll stay in the news here a little bit. There's someone pooping in people's yards, and I'm not trying to be gross here, but I saw this is on the Fox News website. Do I watch Fox News? No. Do I go to their website sometimes? Yeah. I go to all of them. I used to go to Yahoo. I don't go there anymore. But yeah, a woman was pooping in people's yards out there in Arkansas. This is news. I'm surprised somebody isn't shitting in somebody's yard in Arkansas. You know, I was in El Paso. I'm also be surprised if I saw an article that said somebody wasn't turding out, you know, making a little bit of that growing belt out of their bottom. I'd be surprised if somebody wasn't doing that. It's called the Mad Pooper. Makes vile mess in driveway, Arkansas woman said. What do you mean vile mess? You mean duty? What are you talking about? Vile mess. Is she a sorcerer? Does she have a crock pot? You know, does it have a bird gizzard in it? And snakes and snails and puppy dog tails? What do you mean vile mess? Here's a lady, she said, "We were upset when we found out it was not a dog. It was a person who'd been jogging down the street, ran up between our two cars, defecated, and ran away." Well, at least they did it between two cars. You know, I'll give them that. But yeah, I don't think it's cool to be shitting in somebody else's yard if you're not a dog. So I'd set a trap out there. I'd put maybe some toilet tissue that's hooked up to some jumper cables. You know what I'm saying? Let's find out. Let's see them shit when they got that electricity rolling through them. Let's see them blowing out their butt when they about maybe 200 or 300 volts in. Because I'll tell you this, it's hard to turd out when you got that electricity on you. You know, I remember we used to electrocute each other a little bit and try to pee, and that was hard. And so I can only imagine trying to go full throttle, you know, trying to deuce up, that things could get a little wild. But that was a little bit more news, man. Oh, here we go right here. Man fighting for his life after chasing a monkey that took his Steelers hat. I'll read it to you real quick. Jeff, a native of Florida. Of course, Florida, dude, everything dangerous happens down there. A lot of, now Florida, you know, definitely pedophiles. First 48 hours, they shoot a lot down there. What else? And Ferris wheels. But Jeff, a native of Florida who lives in Bali, is fighting to stay alive after he fell from a roof while chasing a monkey who stole his favorite Steelers hat. Villagers rushed him to a local hospital where he was diagnosed with severe damage to his spinal cord and is paralyzed from the chest down. No news if he was able to recover his hat from the monkey. Well, he better get used to wearing hats now, unfortunately, because there's not a lot of, hats and scars if you're, if he is, unfortunately, sadly, and I'm not trying to make light of this, but if he ends up quadriplegic or something like that, then hats and scarves are going to be, some of the more popular toppings or accoutrements for somebody like that, or a shawl. So he'll be able to probably get, he won't have to worry about as much. But man, you don't chase monkeys. I'm telling you, you don't fuck with chimps. You do not fuck with chimps, dude. When a chimp looks at you, he looks at you like a Tony Roma's. All you are to a chimp is a place for ribs. A chimp will crack you in half. A chimp will he will eat soup out of your butt cheeks while you watch. They are violent animals. And I watched a chimp. This is true. I was in Malaysia when I was a student. We traveled and we went to Malaysia, and I saw a chimp. This was a Rubenesque black girl. And she was wild. You know how she can be wild. And this chimp came up and stole a bag of chips. And there was a look that the chimp and the girl gave each other. And that girl shrunk down. She knew that she had met her match. And this chimp just this straight up chimp, this chimp, he just snatched him. And this girl, Dondra, was her name. And Dondra looked at him, and that chimp looked at Dondra, and Dondra shut down. You don't fuck with chimps, man. Maybe that's what you do. You got somebody shitting in your yard in Arkansas, let a chimp loose. Let's see him. Let's see him out there defecating when they got chimps out there in the yard. You try to shit around a chimp. You will not. We had some great calls that came in. We're going to get to those in just a second. And I want to tell you that I've been fortunate enough recently. I got Chris Perez. We got a Latino gentleman now that's helping with the podcast. And we got Wild Corey. And Corey, I don't know, something, I think maybe he got a, he got a hit of something. He's coming in. He got kind of wild. He got that Boo Radley in him a little bit, but he's adventurous. And he's helping out on the Thursday episode. But what I should have done, if I could go back in time, and I still may have to if these fellas don't work out, but what I should have done was go to ZipRecruiter. Does your business have any New Year's resolutions? Well, here's an important one every business should consider. Make your hiring process more efficient and more effective. Oh, you mean faster and friendlier? Yeah. This year, let ZipRecruiter help. No one has done a better job of transforming how you find the right talent than ZipRecruiter has. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. I'm not talking about a man showing up, who maybe doesn't, he doesn't know all the letters of the alphabet, and he and both of his parents are mystics, or or fucking wood wizards, people that live out in the woods and think they know shit. No, I'm talking about a quality candidate. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/TPW. That's ZipRecruiter.com/TPW. All right, let's take a call right here. Here we go.
Theo Vaughn, I had to just call, man. I heard how many times you run out of gas. Are you some type of goddamn idiot, bro?
Ooh. And she's calling because I've ran out of gas in my life over 30 times. Because I didn't know, and I've mentioned this on a past episode, I didn't know people don't run out of gas. They don't tell you that shit when you're growing up. That's one of the problems. They don't have a class in school that tells you things. things you need to know. You know, you can't have as much soup as you want, or it'll start coming up and filling up in your throat. You can't just go forever on the first amount of gas you get. You know, you can't babysit kids and lock them in their rooms. You know, there's a lot of stuff that they don't tell you, and they don't have a class on that shit. So yeah, I didn't know that you couldn't run out of gas, and I have done it before. I appreciate you calling. Onward.
Once you get down to a quarter tank, just fill the fucking tank up. How many times you gotta call somebody for help, man?
Damn. A lot of times, actually. I've called a lot of people for help, and it is weird when you call them for help for running out of gas because people think that it's something that doesn't happen anymore. Because I guess maybe it doesn't happen anymore, but let's hear more.
I should smack that goddamn mullet off your fucking head. I love you, man. I would smack you out of love, of course. Fucking Jesus Christ, dude. Like, people don't run out of gas like that, man. You don't just run the car to the fucking, it's out of gas, dude. Come on.
If you risky, you do it, boo-boo. And I stay risky out there. Because who do you want? Think about this, though. And I appreciate you calling. You got a pretty voice and you sound cute. But who do you want? You want a man out there that's riding around with a full tank all the time? Or you want that musky musk man out there who's out there fuming and zooming, you know? Out there pedal to the metal with nothing in the tank, baby cat. That's what you want. I'll pick up a hitchhiker because I don't want to die alone, son. You know what I'm saying? I want to be out. Maybe that's the kind of man you need a little bit. You need to quit riding around with these fellas that got the full tank and got, water in the back and a flashlight. Fuck a flashlight. I got 3 matches. If we don't see it after I light those motherfuckers, then it's going to get us. Because that's all I have. But I'm that wild ride, you know? I'm that loose cannon.
You fucking country bumpkin ass nigga. Come on, I love you to death, though.
Oh, damn, boy. You coming in, man. You like the sugar. You're like the Sugar Ray Leonard of compliments. You hit me and then say something sweet. Because Sugar Ray Leonard seemed like a sweet man, you know. If you look at him, he's a very sweet man. If you hear him speak in person, very kind man. But that man could kill you. And she sound like that. She sound like something sweet that could kill you. You know, she sound like that diabetes right there.
Just fill your goddamn tank up. It's not that hard.
And I appreciate it. You're right. It's not that hard to fill my gas tank up, and I'm going to try to do it more often. And actually, yesterday I was down to like about 17 miles, and I stopped and filled it up instead of taking that risk and taking that chance. So thank you for calling. Let's hear more. Here we go.
What up, Theo? My name is Cole. I'm from San Diego, California.
Thank you for calling, Cole. I'll be down in La Jolla in a couple of weeks, man. So if you feel like coming out to the show, let me know. Talk to you then. Here we go. More call.
26 years old. My issue or whatever that I thought you might be able to speak on, I've been sober about a year, and I guess...
Congratulations, man. My friend just got a year yesterday, and honestly, man, it brought a tear to my eye just because it was cool to see somebody, you know, stick with something and stay committed to it. Onward.
I guess one of my issues has been, like, not being able to stay focused on recovery, like finding a woman or just getting laid or whatever, making that kind of my higher power as opposed to making myself, growing myself and looking to find, you know, happiness and self-worth in somebody else.
Yeah, man, you know, I appreciate you calling, Cole. And this is an exact problem that I'm having right now in my life. You know, I was falling for this girl, and it's just been tough because my foundation in my own life wasn't that good. And I started to put her into this role, like a little bit of like not a savior, but I was trying to build on something where my foundation wasn't solid. That's it. It's as simple as it is, you know, and it's just hard to do. You know, it's dangerous when we got one guy coming out to meet you in the morning saying that the land that you're living on is quicksand, and you got another guy coming out in the evening, another woman coming out in the evening, and she's a contractor. And that's what I was doing. I was contracting on quicksand. You know? I mean, I was trying to do blueprints, and I was out there in the Baltic Ocean. And so that's the same thing that I'm dealing with. And for me, I notice for me, this might not be your scenario, but for me, if I don't get the second one right, I don't get the blueprints right, then it's not impossible, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot tougher for me to stay tried and true into something that in a relationship with someone that I care about. Because if I don't know how much I care about myself or where to go when I don't care about myself, if I don't have like a reservoir or a process, and some people are like, well, dude, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Well, I'm just talking about that I don't have those things. I wasn't born with those things. I wasn't taught those things when I was young. And so I have to learn them now. I have to learn them as an adult. And that's okay. I'm a 7th grade adult, man. That's what I feel like sometimes. But I appreciate that call, and I would just, I would try to fight it. And there's other groups you can get in. There's an SLAA group, Sex and Love Addicts, and people in there could talk to you about your problem. I mean, I remember, dude, I was so nervous about dating. I remember that I was in love before I even went to pick the girl up. If I finally got a girl to go on a date with me, and I got look, you could always catch a little bit of trim, You could always catch a little bit of that hot poke, You could always catch that. That's out there. But if you got a girl you were interested in at all, I was in love before I even picked her up. Because something in my brain it just didn't leave room for things to grow. It didn't leave room for things to grow or things to feel normal. It didn't really matter what our relationship was going to be like. It just mattered how much did I need someone. And then I would latch, I would latch. But it's tough, dude. It's tough. And those, sometimes being sober from women is what you need. And I'm not saying that to you. I'm not telling you that, but I've heard that from other people. That can be the thing. But I appreciate you calling Cole and helping us think about that today. And you're not alone out there. And it's such a beautiful, look, it's not like you're putting something shady in front of your sobriety. It's not like you're saying, you're collecting, Civil War cannons or something freaking, that's, you're doing something, at least you're out there trying to meet women. But I find for me, I'm learning that if I can get my brain and my heart good first, then I'll be able to really thrive out there in a committed relationship and with somebody that I love. And that's something that I'm hoping to be able to do, honestly, dude. Damn, I sound like a straight fucking sack of urine out here today. Boy, I'm getting leaky out here. I'm getting a little bit, just, whatever. I feel sometimes like a wimp talking about some of this stuff. Let's take another call here. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, what's up? My name is Andrew from Prince Edward Island, Canada. I want to address a dark arts.
Thank you for calling, Andrew, and thank you for calling from Canada. And I think a lot of Americans are going to start defecting to Canada soon. And I hope that Canada, you will accept us. We are in a country as men where it's hard to, we're not allowed to have a lot of feelings anymore. We are not allowed to be our innate selves. We are under attack by, this idea of what America is supposed to be like, but we are not but if we speak up about dealing with what America really is like, then we are shunned. So let us know if we can come up there. And we probably need like a new underground railroad. And it's going to be for men escaping to the Great White North. So I hope you'll have us. Onward. Here we go, Andrew. Thank you for calling.
My wife is overweight. I was overweight.
Okay. Wife overweight and you're overweight, or was overweight. Onward.
We both agreed on it. I've lost the weight and she hasn't. In Canada, I want to...
Okay, I'm going to back it up a little bit. Here we go again.
To address a dark arts. My wife is overweight. I was overweight. We both agreed on it. I've lost the weight and she hasn't. And there's no way for me to bring it up without being the asshole or the emotional abusive man. But I'm just not attracted to her and I don't want to fuck her. So I do turn to porn a lot. I don't know. I'm just attracted to a certain thing. and she was it, and now she's not. And I don't know how to tell her she's got to get back to that.
Wow. Wow, man. Andrew, thank you for calling. I mean, this kind of like is almost in a weird way a summation of a lot of the thing. Not a summation, but it's a very specific moment, that kind of equates a lot of the stuff we're talking about. I don't even know if equates is the right word, but you know what? I don't give a fuck if it's the right word. You know what I'm saying. And maybe some of our listeners will have ideas and thoughts about this, and I know you're not asking me to put it out there, Andrew, but I'm going to put it out there. And if you decide to call and let me know that you don't want us to put it out there, let me know that. But, that's heavy. You guys made this deal. You both agreed to lose the weight, and you lost the weight, and she didn't, and now you don't feel sexually attracted to her, and so you're going to pornography. Man, because I know once you get trapped, if you get trapped in pornography, that can be tough, and that's something obviously it doesn't sound like something you want. It sounds like something you're upset about. Man, how do you bring that up to her? The only thing that I could think is that for one, you just try to love her. You try to love where she's at. You try to love her. You just be loving. In the moments that you are interacting with each other, you just be loving. It's probably not going to be easy. Maybe before you go in the house each time you get home, you just take a moment, a pause or something, and remind yourself that you want to be loving, whatever that means. Even if it's not you can be loving to her, but it's not really, even if that's for you, just to not get in arguments, to not have give her weird looks or to behave weirdly towards her, And maybe I'm thinking that you could try to inspire her in other ways. Maybe do some joint classes together or something like that. With that said, over time, if that doesn't change and you're not attracted to her, then you decide, well, how long do I stay in this environment? And how long will she want to stay in this environment? Because then what happens is, I've noticed that one of you guys will start resenting the other one. Or both people can resent each other. That's a weird little pond to wade in, bro. And maybe some of our listeners have more experience with that. And it's tough because you want a partner, and I want this. I want a partner that inspires me. I want that. But then I have to be that. I have to be that at the same time. I appreciate this call, man. This is, this got a lot of stuff on it because then you don't feel sexually attracted, and it's wild out there. It's wild out there in them dick and heart streets. This shit ain't easy, pop. But if you guys have thoughts or suggestions for Andrew, let's hit the hotline, 985-664-9503. His wife has a physique that is not attractive to him now. They've discussed fitness. She hasn't done it yet, and he is resorting to pornography. And then I get scared for you because pornography, boy, that's that booty trap. And you get out there and they got ladies spraying milk out into each other's mouths and, dressing up like swans and, catching chewing gobstoppers with their buttholes and everything. And it's wild. And that can be, you can get crispy out there. You can get really crispy. Let's take one more call here. Let's see where we're at. We're kind of lifting up in time a little bit, but let's take maybe more than one. Let's see what we got. And I appreciate you guys' calls. And I probably would have talked about more of exactly what happened this past weekend, but I did go. You know what I did all weekend? I stayed committed to what my plan was. I had a couple meetings that I went to in the morning each day. And, I talk about like some of these AA meetings and different men's groups and shit that I go to. And look, you don't have to be able to relate to me on that. This podcast isn't for sober people. This podcast isn't, I don't give a fuck who this podcast is for. I do in the sense that it's for, it's for us, man. It's for us to laugh and feel and try and be able to do the same too at the same time. Because so much of my life on the outside has been at times sad, and on the inside has been fun. And on the inside at times has been sad, on the outside has been fun. And that's what life is. That's what it is. You don't know which one, and for me, I never knew which one I was going to get when. And I never knew how I was going to react. If the world was good, I didn't know if I was going to feel okay to even enjoy it. And most of the time I didn't. But this is a place where I can talk about that. And I know sometimes this podcast maybe isn't the funniest and shit, dude. Well, you know what? I'll fuck your cousin, bruh. All right? I don't even give a dang. I don't care if it's a man or a woman, dude. And I'm not even gay, bruh. So now what? You bend your cousin over, put a sheet over him, okay? I'll run up with an erection. Right when I get there, you pull the sheet. Bam, I'm inside. And I don't give a damn. I don't give a cat's fucking whisker fart. I don't care. I'll fuck your cousin, dude. If you're going to be rude, I'll fuck your cousin. And that's just where I'm at. Because I'm just whatever, dude. But Andrew, I appreciate that call. Let's take another call here. Onward.
Hey, Theo. Johnny from Cleveland. Quick.
Johnny from Cleveland. Big J from Cleveland just went 0-16. Your football team went 0-16. Why have a team? Pick a different sport, dude. Don't you realize that? Cleveland Browns, if you went 0-16 at football, pick a different sport. Maybe y'all are a baseball team. Maybe y'all are synchronized swimmers. Have you thought about that? Maybe you guys should do baking or woodwork. Did everybody graduate from shop class? I'm just saying, if you're not good at football, then don't keep doing it. Do something else. Make a new sport. What about violent chess? I could see you guys out there. Knight takes pawn with a fucking leg drop. I'm just saying, Cleveland Browns, if you're not good at football, then be good at something else. Try something else. Onward, Johnny.
Quick topic for you. Chicks getting on dating apps and looking for that sugar daddy. Basically, putting yourself into odd sexual situations that most people wouldn't usually do, if they were financially stable. In the old days, I guess you just had to go out on the streets and prostitute yourself, Now that's becoming less and less. We do it all over the internet. People are hitting these dating apps, really just looking for money. On Tinders, you'll see that people just put their Venmos in there. They won't tag their Instagram, they won't tag their Twitter, but just toss their Venmo in there. It's like, all right, I see what you're doing there, I see what you're looking for, it's that.
Okay, I appreciate the call, and you're talking about girls that are, just being sugar daddies, and a lot of them are out on Tinder. And I'll tell you this, a lot of them live out here. And I think it's always been there, some type of prostitution at some level. It's very vague. I mean, for Hollywood, who also has, there's a lot of women's rights movements and stuff like that. And look, no one supports a woman more than I do. I mean, I grew up watching my mother work 50 hours a week. So that we could eat, and I didn't even get to have my mother because she chose to work instead of collect welfare because she wanted to show just by example, and for that we had to sacrifice emotional connection. So I support there was, but there was the hardest working man I've ever known is my mother. My mother works hard, and so I support the movement. The idea that women need to feel empowered. But at the same time, you have all these women who are, all these sex accusations and this and that. At the same time, here in Hollywood, you have billboards up around town for sugar daddy websites, which are basically websites that tell women, that connect women with men with money in exchange for a vague scenario where one is expecting sex, possibly, and one is expecting money, possibly. To me, that sounds dangerous. If a man shows up and he doesn't know what he's supposed to be expecting or giving, and a woman shows up and they don't know what they're expecting or giving, how is that creating positive and how is it's not even a clean interaction? That doesn't sound. Look, if I have a daughter one day, she chooses to be out selling her body for sex. God forbid, that's not something that I want. But if she's if that's where she's at in the world or in her life or something that's going on, and it's a straight up deal. It's such a weird thing I got myself into, but I would have to support her. Of course, I'd be trying to get her into self-help groups and different types of things and stuff like that, and getting her out of those dark arts. But to have a daughter wandering into a place, not knowing what to expect, money's maybe on the table, sex is maybe on the table, fuck, that sounds scary to me. And those billboards are all over Hollywood. So that's where sometimes I'm just like, Hollywood fails us when the idea is one thing, but the reality is something else, or something that they don't want to, or when it gets real, that's when there's no one talks about that. No one talks about that. Because advertising is just an extension, and PR, press, the newspaper, it's all just an extension of Hollywood. You know that. Most of it. But yeah, it's scary, man. And it's a lot of women are out there doing it. And do I fault them? I don't fault them. I know some that seem to be able to do it healthily. And I know some that have gotten involved and seem like they can't. I know some that are, I have friends that are out there that are addicted to those websites, that are meeting up with women 2 and 3 times a week. These sugar daddy websites. But, I don't know. Prostitution's been around since the beginning of time. I don't think that it's bad. I don't think it's bad if it's a clean deal. I think it gets sketchy when you're not sure what the circumstances are. That seems sketchy to me. All right, where are we at here? We had a couple more calls. I'm gonna put this one call in, and this call came in a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to be in Jacksonville next week, so I just want to put this in. And so just give us something all to, if you want to get out of yourself, you're already thinking about yourself so much today and you're sick of yourself, because I get there sometimes. I'm sick of myself. I just want my brain to stop thinking about me, but it won't. Here we go.
Yo, Theo, my brother from another mother. I got a high school sweetheart. I lost my virginity to her.
Ooh, man. Dude, there's nothing funner sometimes, honestly, even if it was a fiasco. Dude, I remember, everybody has a wild virginity story, and I kind of lost my virginity a couple times because I couldn't lose it, because every time I would get right up by the, by that my body would just spray out. Dude, I remember one time I fainted, dude. Just came so hard, woke up, minutes later, dude. And, I've always had them, I've had that fainting goat syndrome. I've talked to you guys about it before. Where I get so much anxiety during sex, I'm just holding my breath and just fucking away like a little goat. And then I'll pass out. Well, but sometimes nothing's funner than thinking back to them days when you're out there just, when you was just 70% nuts and cock. When your whole body was fueled by this little metal detector, but the metal was chicks and tits. And you was just detecting it everywhere, dude. Wow. I'd fuck a woman's haircut if it had a wet barrette in it. You know what I'm saying? That's where I was at. But let's hear more of your call.
And as soon as that happened, she fucking flippy-flopped. And she cheated on me. Her and that dude ended up getting knocked up while she was still in high school. She married him, popped out another kid, but he...
Okay, so you were dating a girl, you lost your virginity to her, then she hooked up with another guy and had a child, still in high school. Woo! This could be Arkansas. Is she shitting in people's yards now? Let's hear more.
He's a piece of shit fucking car salesman.
Yeah, There's some rough car salesmen out there. Unless you're down in Natchez, Mississippi, I got a buddy named Gulf South Auto. He works over there, the Deal Daddy, and you should go see him. He's a decent man, decent fellow over there, Deal Daddy. Onward.
That's just my opinion. Not all car salesmen are assholes.
That's true, dude. There's probably 4 or 5% of them that's decent. Onward.
Thing is, every 2 years, she hits me up, and she's like, oh, hey, getting separated and shit. And then we just have a blowout, and then, stops talking to me, and then hits me up in 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I don't know. Am I wasting my fucking time? She keeps saying she's getting separated.
Well, dude, look, man. You know she's not getting separated. If you've done this a few times, you know she's not getting separated, bro. Don't be my used car salesman. You out here trying to sell me this used car of a story here. And I'm not mad at you. I still love you. But come on, man. You just taking that thing for a test drive every couple years. And y'all meeting up behind the Sizzler, behind whatever, behind that Walgreen. And y'all out there testing each other's crotches out for a half hour. We're fucking real quick somewhere about a day's in. Come on, man. I've been out there. So she ain't getting separated. This is a lemon of a car, this story you selling me here. So look, I think both of y'all are using each other for what y'all are using each other for. And I think you should be grateful enough that after that bad poke you gave her, that first run, that first, hit with that thunder stick, that she left you after, that she's giving you other chances to make up for it with another couple lightning strikes. I think that's all it is, man. So I think just, it seems like both of you guys are on the up and up and dealing with things. I would just be earnest with her. If she gets real, then you get real. But don't lie. I just try not to lie if you can help it, man. And if you can't help it, at least try to be a really good person while you do it. Because sometimes you just can't help things. But that's it today, man. I appreciate you guys calling. I'd love it if we had some thoughts for that, for Andrew, who's no longer too attracted to his wife. If you want to hit the hotline, 985-664-9503. I want to thank you guys for being supportive. I want to thank my boy, Chris Perez, for being out here and getting it done today. And just want to wish you guys well. If your team's still in the NFL playoffs, come get these Saints. Because we're going to do something. Alvin Kamara, boy. And I'm excited to see these games next week. Good luck to Jacksonville. My boy Calais Campbell out there getting it done. He gives the best out post-game interviews, and they got a good squad. And if your team lost, that's okay. You got time to chill. You'll be in fantasy next year. I'm excited to see what sport the Cleveland Browns play next year. Thank you, JP, for calling in and telling me to stop being a... And I'm going to try that. I'm going to try not to run out of gas this week. Cole, if you want to be sober, be sober. Right now, whatever you're doing, it doesn't seem like it's your primary goal. It could be one of your goals. But look, I'm telling you from a guy I've made it not my goal. And guess what? It's not my goal. So when it's your goal, it's your goal. But if you make an inch towards it every day, then it's still a goal. You just got to make an inch. Andrew, we'll have some tough stuff for you hopefully on Thursday's episode. We appreciate you guys calling. You guys, be good to yourselves. You probably deserve it. Sorry if this was a downer episode, but you know what, dude? Whatever. There's so much bad shit out there that if that's all this was more bad shit, then fucking bienvenidos, papi.
Celebrate living, celebrate misery. You know that soon we're gonna die. Let's have some fun while we all die.
Be good to yourselves, guys.
Celebrate dark days, celebrate all your